happening this afternoon on LALATE. A monthly stimulus check? Yes, the fourth stimulus check will be monthly, so says Senate Democrats and House Democrats. In this recording, we analyze the monthly stimulus check, but also breaking this week and breaking today. I can exclusively report to you that one, the $10,000 EIDL grant is being paid next week. Number two, that $50,000 of student loan debt forgiveness is likely to be announced by the president this coming week by executive order. And number three, on this Wednesday, veterans who have yet to get their third stimulus check are going to get it by direct deposit. A lot of big details, and this is Afternoons LALATE. What a big afternoon it is. Third stimulus checks, fourth stimulus checks, executive orders to forgive student loan debt, and $10,000 of EIDL grants. A lot of details all in this recording. Thank you for joining me on Afternoons LALATE for a special recording. Coming up later today is a special Throwback anniversary special. I hope you watch that video. And then we have Evenings LALATE at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, followed by not one, but two special shows at 10 o'clock and 10:30 tonight on the East Coast. Jump into the 10 o'clock show and it'll automatically send you to the 10:30 one after the first one's over. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcium VIP. Throughout the day, you've seen me record and explain how fourth stimulus will involve monthly stimulus checks. The path, reconciliation. The time frame, about a week from now is when the president's going to stop the bipartisan move and start the reconciliation process. The vote, likely around July, but you want it earlier than that. You want it June. The monthiness, yes, every month a stimulus check. Who gets it? If you make $75,000 or less, that's for you. If you make $150,000 or less as a married couple, this is you. If you're on SSI or SSDI, this is you. And when would this run? To about December. Meantime, also happening today, third stimulus checks. If you're a veteran and not gotten your third stimulus check, congratulations. It's coming this Wednesday by direct deposit. I was the first to report it, and it was confirmed over this weekend. Another wave went out on Friday for veterans, and those are landing next Wednesday. If you're a mail check recipient and have received those, then don't worry, they're still coming in the mail. But what about this EIDL grant and this enormous $50,000 of student loan debt? Yes. Two exclusives you're going to hear only from this channel and only in this recording. Number one, I'm reporting that the President of the United States is likely to announce on Thursday or Friday this coming week an executive order to forgive $50,000 of all student loan debt. What's going to be at issue here? An executive order. What's the legal precedent? Well, Elizabeth Warren says that Obama and Trump did it, and so Biden can do it. What's at issue? Well, the president 2 weeks ago said that this coming Friday is the due date for his Secretary of Education to prepare a deal memo to determine the legal validity of a president to forgive student loan debt by executive order. And that letter is due this Friday. I'm reporting that the letter will likely say he can, and that the president's going to say, yes, I will. It follows a very long path. Here's what you need to know. One, we don't have the provisions of it yet. We only have what has been talked generally about it. Generally, we've heard it would include both private and public debt. So if your lender was the federal government, yes. And if it's private, yes. It would be automatic. You wouldn't have to do anything. It would be up to $50,000. It would include everything up to $50,000. It would cover whether you're currently a student or not a student, a former student. Doesn't matter how old the debt is or how young the debt is. Doesn't matter how rich you are or how poor you are. Everything would be included. It would be all automatic and would formulate on the day in which the president signs into the law. Now, here's what you need to know. The president has not been wanting to do this for a very long time. In October of last year, we first heard about it on this channel when Leader Schumer, then Minority Schumer, reached out to the president and said, "Congratulations on your election win. I want you to do this on day one." President said no. So then he said, "Well, how about think about that again?" "No, I'm not going to do it." "Well, I'll do $10,000 if you give me by bill from Congress, but I'm not doing it by executive order." Well, Schumer and Warren met with the president not one but three times starting the month of January. Each time the response was, "No, I'm not doing it." Finally, a series of pushing worked, and it started with Elizabeth Warren and this video, which was about 5 to 6 weeks ago. And in this video, Elizabeth Warren said that the president has executive authority under the law to do it. He needs to do it. Let's listen in to this video, which ultimately became the reason why there's a letter being produced this Friday to forgive student loan debt.
Student loan debt means there are lots of people who aren't moving out from their parents' homes, lots of people who aren't buying their own homes, and one of the other things the data shows, lots of people who are not starting their own businesses. And all of those things hold back our economy. And I make that point because I'm sure there are lots of folks who are on this call tonight who don't have student loan debt. But here's the deal. Even if you don't have student loan debt, you will be helped by seeing student loan debt canceled because it will help our economy. This is one of those things that doesn't have to go through Congress. The authority is already there in law.
And here is her legal pitch for the legal authority.
For the president and his team, the administration, the Secretary of Education, to cancel out this student loan debt. And President Obama used it to cancel some student loan debt. President Trump used it to cancel some student loan debt. I want to see President Biden use it. If he would cancel $50,000 in student loan debt, it would make an enormous difference in the lives of tens of millions of Americans and help build our entire nation a stronger future going forward. So, as you know, I'm all in on this one. And if we could persuade the president, we could do this one fast. The consequence of student loan debt.
And that is what Elizabeth Warren did in her push. A few weeks ago, the president heard the message, and finally, about 2 weeks ago, the president gave in and said, "Okay, I will have my Secretary of Education prepare that letter. And the letter is due this coming Friday. And if it is true what Elizabeth Warren says, I will forgive the student loan debt." Well, I'm reporting that that letters likely say he can, and that he's likely to forgive the student loan debt later this week. This is really a shocking developing detail for many reasons. One, the president has had his own mindset about legislation, and often Leader Schumer does one thing that is different than the president. This has not been an easy push by Leader Schumer, and it mirrors what's happening with the multiple stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package. The president's not giving you multiple stimulus checks. The Democrats, the senators, like Warren, like the 21 of 50 that pushed for this student loan debt forgiveness, they're now pushing for MSC. It shows a push and back forth across the board. Well, that was about 2 weeks ago. Then, over the weekend, the president saw what else? Some more videos. The videos started first with this one. This one was released right before the president agreed to do that letter with the Department of Education. And why this video is so important is because of the tax implications. Normally, if the president forgave student loan debt by executive order, you would have to pay taxes on it. $10,000, $20,000 in taxes you would owe. Not anymore. On the third stimulus package, these 21 of 50 Democrats who want to give you MSC under the fourth stimulus package put in the third stimulus package during the same process of Vote-A-Rama, forgiveness of student loan debt is not a taxable event. Let's listen.
Especially as we try to get President Biden to forgive up to $50,000 of student debt. Imagine you finally get a cancellation of your debt and you get a tax bill from the IRS. It's worth about $2,200 for every $10,000 of debt relief. So you get a $30,000 relief. All of a sudden you would have gotten hit with a $6,000 tax bill from the IRS. Based upon the legislation that is now law that the leader helped us with, we now guarantee that no student who gets relief ultimately gets a tax bill, and that's a big deal.
Right, and this is about moving forward. This is our moment of momentum. We have got one more piece in place, and now we're just ready for President Biden to sign the piece of paper to say cancel $50,000 worth of student loan debt. And when he does that, he will close the racial wealth gap between blacks and whites who have student loan debt by 25 points, between Latinos and others by 25 points. There's not a single thing he could do on.
But one of the arguments some of the people around him are saying is, how could we do this? They still have to pay taxes on it. No more.
Not anymore.
Can't make that argument. So that's a help within, as we try to push the White House to go further, to do what we think they should do. This helps us.
Yeah, and
What's important to understand here is a series of messaging that's coming from Leader Schumer. The messaging first is that we wanted to do this. We wanted to forgive the student loan debt. The president wouldn't do it. Then we urged the president to do it again, and he came up with an excuse. The excuse is, well, if I forgave their student loan debt, then they have to pay taxes on it. They can't afford the taxes. Leader Schumer fixed that situation. If this sounds familiar, it should. It's multiple stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package. The president doesn't want to give you multiple stimulus checks. It's not his idea. His idea is infrastructure, climate, and taxes under the fourth stimulus package. Well, guess what those 21 of 50 Democrats want to do? They want to fix that by adding in there multiple stimulus checks. And they want to do it the same way they did it for student loan debt forgiveness. When the third stimulus package bill landed in the Senate, no one was talking about student loan debt anywhere. Guess what they did in a blink of an eye when no one was watching? Those senators had prepared during the vote-a-rama, that 48-hour period, to put in there, slide in there, perhaps is the correct verb, a provision that if the president ever forgives student loan debt by executive order, it's tax-free. Well, guess what they're going to do this time around? When the fourth stimulus package lands in the Senate, they're vowing to slide in there stimulus checks every month until the end of this year. Yes, it mirrors the same mindset of where the president doesn't want to do something, but he also doesn't want to veto what the Senate does. They're going to slide it in there and have him sign it away. And guess what? The pushing is stronger, or almost as strong, I should say, as the purple power. Let's look at these numbers for fourth stimulus. If they got this done from July to December, it's 6 months. 6 months at $2,000 or $1,400 would be $12,000 or $8,400. This is an individual. This is what they want to do. They want the checks to go until the end of this year, and they want it to be for the same income qualifications as a third stimulus check. So if you got a third stimulus check, you would get a fourth stimulus check. Very, very simple and easy breezy. There are senators who want it to be done through December, and those senators are moderate senators. And while the number is unknown, they want it to go to the end of the year. Who gets it? Anyone who makes $75,000 or less, or 150 married couple, household family of 4, and if you're on SSI and SSDI, you would get it as well. And guess what? They're not done pushing. Why? Even as the president is on the 11th hour to decide the issue of student loan debt forgiveness, guess what they're doing? They're releasing another video this weekend to push the president to do it. I'll go over that video in a second, and I'll also explain an exclusive you're only hearing on this channel, that $10,000 of EIDL is hitting this week. And guess what? It could be yours. I'll be going over that incredible $10,000 of free stimulus that's hitting across the board out of nowhere. No one thought it was coming. And guess what? I have an exclusive about it. You're only going to hear on this channel. It's a little bit different than anything you would have anticipated. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. They're Facebook, Twitter and Instagram individuals, reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues later on afternoons LALATE with a special anniversary show. I hope you tune in for that big anniversary show. And then we go into evenings LALATE, followed by 2 Jovita Late special broadcasts. Boy, there's a lot of excitement happening across the board. Meantime, over the weekend, Leader Schumer and Elizabeth Warren released yet another video to push for student loan debt forgiveness. And their messaging was very loud and clear. The president needs to do this, and we're going to push him to the very final minute. Let's listen into that video released over the weekend.
And it just has to stop. Like, Kendrick said, I mean, we don't want those coming after us to experience the same thing, even though we're seeing the same sign.
At this point too, Derek, it's the generational effect that if you had your college diploma but no debt, then you'd be in a better position for your daughter and to be able to strengthen her and lift her up as she goes forward, both as a child and as she gets ready for school. I think that, Kendrick, you talked about your daughter losing her car because you were struggling with your own student loan debt after you'd gotten cheated by a for-profit college. But I think the generational effects of this, it means it hits you, but it hits the next group and the next group and the next group. And I think that's a powerful point. And I appreciate your raising this, Tanita. I think that's really important.
And when I'm listening to you, all 4 of you, I'm inspired, but I'm also frustrated at how there are people who make a living preying off, selling you hopes and dreams and catching you, especially first gen folks. And what I heard from you, Sabrina, is you want to move on. You want to buy a car. You want to keep going. You want to help others. And this is holding you down. Daryl, the systemic barriers that were set up very intentionally to prey on you.
The messaging is loud and clear, and the messaging was actually repeated by viewers in the live chat this weekend. The issue of student loan debt is very key and important. Why is it so important? Because a lot of people cannot buy a home or cannot buy a car because they have student loan debt. And if they had that student loan debt forgiven, it's incredible. To recap, I'm reporting that later this week, the President of the United States will announce that $50,000 of student loan debt is forgiven. And I'll have the latest details as it happens across the board. This is executive order. All right, let's cut to the big other exclusive I'm reporting to you right now for the first time ever. EIDL grants of $10,000. The remainder of your $10,000 grant are being paid right now, more than ever before. You know that the remainder of the $10,000 EIDL grant has been the issue of discussion on this channel for upwards of 1 year. Well, in December, they started to send out those emails that said, hi, you want the remainder of your $10,000 grant? They went very slow across the board. Then, in the last few days, they started to speed up. In February, more got them. In March, a few got it as well. This is what you're only going to hear exclusively for this channel. First, people who are getting the EIDL $10,000 grant email need to do this. First, you need to check your spam folder because it is going to spam folders across the board. Make sure the words SBA are cleared out of spam so they go right into inbox. The email comes from the SBA Advanced Department. Number 2, this is something you're not going to hear anywhere else. They're simply coming out of order. They're coming out of order. So if you applied later in 2020, you're thinking you got to wait through this whole process. No, you may actually end up getting it before anyone else. What's going on here? This is only details you're going to hear on this channel. The EIDL grant was open from March to approximately May, and then closed, and then was open for a few weeks in July, and then closed again. Well, I have seen that July applicants have gotten the email before March applicants who are in the same city and block as the other applicant. Has nothing to do with where they're located. Same location, two businesses, same area. The July applicants are getting the email before the March and April applicants. Sound familiar? It is. It's SBA. So what you need to know is if you're watching this video and you applied for that SBA EIDL grant at any time and got $1,000 per employee or got zero because they ran out of money, watch for that email. That email is coming in, and they're not coming in order. It may come out of nowhere. There's a short time frame to respond to the email, and if you don't, it's gone. It's as simple as that. After they go through those emails, which are only currently still for low-income based communities, then they're going to get to the non-low-income based communities. When? A lot of reports say they're at them now. They're not at them now. They're currently still in the low-income based communities. A lot of reports are saying they're going through the March and April applicants, and now they're going to the May applicants. Nope. They're simply going out of order for everyone. So it's too hard to predict. Let me just tell you that in doing EIDL grants and loans last year, I saw that often it is too sporadic and too chaotic to show a trend line. And so some people who have been reporting trend lines that some things are going chronological, not accurate, that some things are going before another, not accurate. It's literally all over the place. Next, if you got that EIDL loan last year and want to do an EIDL increase, it's now available at SBA. It's been there for a few weeks, as I first reported when it went live. And third, the shuttered venue grant went live last Friday approximately, and the website crashed. It's expected to go back live tomorrow. It's not just for venues, so go to sba.gov and look and see if this is something that you would like. Finally, the PPP grant is back on. The president signed an executive order late last week to extend the PPP program further. So you have a couple of grants to choose from. The PPP grant, the EIDL grant for my 2020 applicants, the shuttered venue grant, which is new. And people have been asking me, what about a grant to go start a new business? The president did not deliver that. He did not come through with that promise. He said it was in the third stimulus. It's not. Will it be in the fourth stimulus? Not at the moment. It's important to understand that I focus on trying to get you as much money as I can, but if the president doesn't deliver it, I can't deliver it. It's surprising because of the current data that surfaced on Friday. This Friday number came in, and in the month of February, 22% of small businesses, medium to small in size, closed forever in the United States. These are businesses that had survived the whole pandemic and reached to February, but after all that, they called it quits in February. That's the highest number we've seen since May of last year. There's a lot of confusing economic data across the board, and I will continue to detail it throughout the day and tomorrow. But we saw great news last week, the Producer Price Index. And ultimately, when the House and Senate gets that fourth stimulus, they're going to have to deal with bad news and good news. The bad news last week, bad UI, continuing unemployment claims, bad new unemployment claims, and also the small business shuttering. The good news was the jobs, the PPI, and next week could be good news as well for the CPI. But bad news coming into next week is the lack of Johnson & Johnson doses because of the problem in Baltimore. The president will only be able to deliver 700,000 doses when he delivered 4.9 the week before. Going into the new day, the Dow futures is relatively flat, up 251, less than 1%, and NASDAQ futures up 63 cents. Thank you for joining me on a big afternoon's LALATE. I appreciate all your patronages, love, and support. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you in just a little bit as afternoon's LA continues.